All right, welcome into the Blueprint. It is a special bye-week episode. We got a great one for you today, featuring, a special guest, Devin's former roommate, both of our former teammate, and former Michigan great safety, Jarrod Wilson. We challenged you last week. It is the push to 10K. We need to get to 10K subscribers by kickoff against Northwestern this weekend. We're at 8.54 right now, Dev. So we're climbing. But we got some work to do.
Yeah.
You got anything to say to the people? We got to get to 10K.
Yeah, I mean, we just got to work harder, right? We're working really hard for you, and I can't wait for the next segment because Jarrod Wilson is about as smart a football guy as you'll ever see. He's going to give you some great insight on what not only our defense is doing, but what the offense can do to attack Northwestern. So make sure that you are subscribing and everything you can possibly do. I don't understand how we're not at – we should have been at 10K 14 weeks ago. I know the show hadn't started yet, but
send it to the group chats.
I know, right? That's what you do. You send it to the group chat.
Email list.
Yeah.
All of it. We appreciate you guys. We're making the big time push. All right. Dev's going to break down. He talked to a big time quarterback. We're going to get to that in a second and how it relates to Bryce. Dev, I want to start with some of the injury news here. Stuff we knew that this bye week was about being healthy. Obviously, it's confirmed. Justice Haynes, he opted for surgery. Seems like it may be long-term. We don't know the specific timeline yet, but obviously that is devastating. Rod Moore still working through a knee injury. That's a direct quote from Sharon Moore. He's working through the knee, so we don't know where he stands. Remember, Jayshon Barham, the linebacker room, got decimated with injuries in that Purdue game and Michigan State game. So Barham left the Purdue game early, went in for a couple plays, had an issue. Sharon Moore said, feel like we'll get him back. So that's positive news. Micah Kaapana, the running back, injured his hand first game against New Mexico, has not played since. Rumor has it it's possible he'll return after the bye week. And then working our way through, Evan Link, saved by the knee brace is the quote that came out. So obviously Blake Frazier has been playing well, but always good to have depth in the trenches. Working our way through here. The two linebackers, Jimmy Roeder, he suffered what appears to be a soft tissue leg injury at the end of that Michigan State game. So we'll have to see what's going on there. It said we expect Roeder could return for the Northwestern game or the following week against Maryland. So obviously need him back for Ohio State. Something to monitor. Cole Sullivan. Sharon Moore said that Roeder and Sullivan both seem to be trending in the right direction, but Sullivan's injury might be a bit more serious. So these are just key things to consider and talk about. Now, tight end Hogan Hansen. Sharon Moore said, I think he'll practice more this week. Hopefully we'll have him ready to go. So thankfully that is the last of the injury news. Donovan McCauley also got injured. That doesn't seem like it's going to be long-term or anything significant, but certainly impactful as he's the wide receiver one. But Dev, I know that was a lot to get through there. I don't know if you have any thoughts or anything to add there on the injury news before we get into the quarterback talk.
Yeah, I mean, it's just prayers go out to the guys, right? You got to make sure that you're as healthy as possible towards the end of the season because a lot of times, you know this, at every level of football, it's not always who the best team is. It's who's the more healthy team. Right. Mm-hmm. And if you're more healthy and you have talent and things like that, you can play football the way you want to. It usually leads to great success. So you just really hope and pray that those guys get healthy as possible. And you know, the training staff should do a really good job. And I'm excited for that. But you alluded to the conversation I had with Archie Manning.
Archie Manning, not Arch Manning, right? Okay, Archie, gotcha.
Yeah, so I've known Archie Manning for a very long time. He's actually, he's older, obviously, but he's a good friend of mine. And I just wanted to talk to him. I wanted him to come on the show, but he said that once he starts doing media again, we will be the first show that he comes on. So that's going to be awesome. I'm just telling you.
Okay.
I had him on one of my shows before. Talking to Archie Manning, it's like talking to the godfather of quarterbacks, right? Because he has Eli and Peyton.
He kind of is.
Yeah, he certainly is.
Yeah.
And not to mention, he was a super good quarterback, right?
Yeah.
So, but with all that, I just wanted to know what his experience was and what would be advice that he would give to the situation with Bryce, right? Where he's coming in, he's highly touted recruit, and he's thrown into the fire. And so he obviously had two sons, right? Peyton and Eli. Or he had three sons, but Peyton and Eli that went through this kind of same process. and the pressure was big for them, right? Obviously, Peyton, one of the top guys in the country, maybe the top, actually top quarterback coming out of high school. Plus, your dad is Archie Manning, right? And obviously, a lot of people right now don't know how good Archie Manning was because we're young. But when you go back then, it's like, oh, we remember Archie Manning going crazy, running around, making plays with New Orleans Saints, and in college as well. And so he kind of talked about Eli and Peyton. Their path was very different, and people don't really realize it, right? So I'll start with Peyton because he was first. They never clamored for him to be the starter, right? He had to become the starter because of injury, similar to what Bryce is experiencing. The difference there is to start the season, right? He said that they had a lot of different things in place to make sure that he didn't have to do much and that he really wasn't depended on to be the guy, right?
You're talking about Arch down in Texas this year?
No. I'm talking about Peyton Manning.
Oh, Peyton, back when Peyton was becoming in college. Okay,
I never even
wow,
talked to him about Arch. Arch
is
going through what he's going through right now. That's not of any of our concern.
Got it.
But it's Peyton Manning who was a top quarterback coming out and had Archie Manning as his father, right? So everybody expects big things, but they kind of treated with kid gloves. But because of an injury, he had to be thrown in. But he said the infrastructure of Tennessee at the time was so good. Offensive line, skill players, running game, all those different things. And it allowed for them to protect him. But then it came to a point where he's got to start making plays, right? And so that was kind of the thing for Peyton. But for Eli, he didn't play, right? He redshirted, and then he backed up. And then he got a chance to play, right? You just assume with Manning, he played early. But his journey was more similar to what we see from Arch Manning at Texas right now. And so the thing is I don't believe the infrastructure was as sound as we might have needed it to be for Bryce's organic growth. And I kind of talked about this before Bryce had even gotten here, that you've got to have these things in play. Now, I think at this point right now, if the team was exactly how it is on offense right now, in the beginning, I think it would have been perfect, right? Because the running game is fully established. You know exactly what you got. You got those two receivers that are fully established. You know exactly what you got, right? But it came a little later in the season, and so it was a point early when Bryce was it felt like he's drowning, right? He's really trying to learn on the fly, and it makes it very difficult. And so now that the other pieces are together, we're really expecting a lot from Bryce Underwood, where there may be a point where maybe we just don't get that this year, right? Maybe we don't get that because of all the experiences he's already had, right? Getting attacked on every single play against OU, right? Having success against teams that aren't really good, right? And giving you kind of a false sense of security on what you're doing, and then being punched in the mouth again on the next game, right? It's been a odyssey in itself, right? The whole adventure of him just trying to figure out how to be a quarterback at this level. But the fact that the run game and everybody, it's running so well, the offensive line blocking so well in the pass game, I think that is going to lend to an opportunity for Bryce to really take advantage, especially with Northwestern coming up. Because what we're going to talk about, we're going to have Jarrod Wilson break down cover 4 and things like that. I think that he has a real opportunity to take advantage with his skill set of what Northwestern tries to do. They have a formula that they use that is basically the same as Michigan right now. Play defense, run the football, don't turn it over, right? However,
make few mistakes, penalties, special teams, yeah.
The only difference, Michigan has better players, right? Yeah. So it's kind of like a mirror right now. You're going up against a mirror. However, your mirror is a little bit bigger, right?
Yeah.
Your mirror has a little bit more Windex on it. It's nice and clean, right? There's no fog, So I'm really excited for this opportunity because you have to trust that the coaching staff attacked a lot of the things that we highlighted and outlined on this show. And they'll go in with a really good plan, new wrinkles, all those different things like you should in the bye week, and dominate, honestly, Northwestern.
Well, you just hit on so many great things there, and I know you can speak to this. It's like every quarterback, whether it's high school, college, or the NFL, you're the face of an organization, of a program. And at Michigan, that is like as big of a level as you can get. And then Bryce with the commitment with NIL, there's a lot of noise. Immediately
hometown
put on
kid.
This like hometown kid, right? The savior, hey, especially with the quarterback play last year.
Yeah.
And it sets up impossibly high expectations.
Yeah.
In a sense, it sets up a young kid
And then he
to
added
fail
on
immediately.
We
What's
added
that?
he added on as well, right? He said,
Right.
"I'm the greatest you ever seen." I mean, or you've never seen anybody like me, right? And so
Yes.
he kind of added to that. But he's young. He's got bravado. You can't really fault him 100% for that. But he has to take some blame in the expectation. But go ahead.
Mhm. But then what you said and what Archie was alluding to is that's where it's important for Sharon and Michigan and the institution to put systems in place to. I don't think. I mean, you have to insulate it at some level,
guardrails.
but it's
Just
real.
guardrails.
Yeah, but then also to develop them. And this is what we've talked about on the show too. Is I think that was the most disappointing part of the Purdue game. Is it felt like a regression in fundamentals, a regression in footwork, a regression in trusting protection, a regression in eye discipline. All things that they have to be hit on. And that this is to spin it all the way forward. Dev is. Hey, coming off a bye week, that is what this bye week has to be all about for Bryce. Is getting back to those fundamentals, and a huge opportunity for him coming down the stretch, because we'll talk about the college football playoff path later in the show. Michigan, there's a path. There is an absolute path, but they need Bryce to be at his best.
Absolutely. Can't agree more.
Yeah. And I think the good thing here too is the receiver room. What you said there is, hey, we didn't have Andrew Marsh week one. We didn't know who he was going to be, but now Andrew Marsh looks like a wide receiver one.
Yeah.
And McCauley, the chemistry has been built.
Remember, I talked about that by this time they will be 1A, 1B, and that's exactly what they are.
This is as talented as a receiver room as Michigan has had in recent years. Like these guys are capable. The tight end room is getting healthy and they're capable. The O-line and run game is coming along. So everything's in place, but I think we're all just waiting to see. This is such an important game coming out at Northwestern. And as you guys know, next week it'll be DG's breakdown. I'll mix in some plays as well. So with that being said, we'll step aside for our first break. It's the push to 10K, guys. If we don't get here this weekend, we're going to push, but it's before the Ohio State game, okay? It is the push, the race to 10K. Like, subscribe, send it to everybody. Devin said it earlier. Make a second account and like and subscribe with that one.
Especially after this next Jarrod Wilson segment.
You guys are going to love it. You guys are going to love it. One of the more intelligent football players in Michigan history, I would say. So I'm done talking. First break. On the other side, we will introduce the man of the hour, Jarrod Wilson. Thanks for tuning in. Support for The Blueprint comes from Google. Being a college football fan these days means you're part analyst, part GM, and part rules expert. The game is just so much more complex than it used to be.
1 minute, you're trying to decode X's and O's. The next, you're debating the transfer portal. This is what college football fandom is all about. And AI mode in Google search is perfect for it. It's built to handle all the nuanced, complicated questions that go way beyond the simple stat.
You can ask it to do a deep dive on strategy, like break down how the spread offense compares to the pro-style offense based on philosophy and pace.
Or you can pivot to a more off-the-field elements and ask, what are the main reasons why there are more college football player transfers in recent years?
You can even get real-time analysis, like asking, how have this year's college football rule changes impacted the season so far? AI mode pulls all that info together for you.
Whether you're worrying about a complex scheme or a new rule, or why your favorite team's roster looks so different every single year, you can just ask Google.
All right, we're back here on the Blueprint, and as promised, we have a very special guest, DG and my former teammate, the safety. He goes by the nickname 1040, but you guys know him. You can look up the Wikipedia page. It's Jarrod Wilson, undrafted free agent to Jacksonville, but carved your own path. They counted you out, Jarrod. It doesn't matter. 6 years in the NFL and went on a nice few deep runs there with the Jacksonville Jaguars, man. So thanks so much for joining us. Great to see you. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I appreciate y'all boys having me. I'm doing good this Sunday, though.
And fans probably don't know because Jarrod he's not a talker. He don't really say too much, right? You know, he's not the podcast guy, but this is probably, if not the smartest person as far as football is concerned, I've ever met. And he is a junkie that it really can't be explained, but I'm gonna explain it. Jarrod used to be my roommate, and I used to walk in the house, and I've never once in my entire life come in the house and NFL Network was not on the TV. I'm like, what is wrong with this dude? Like, all you do is watch football. Like, all he did was watch football every single – maybe he'll switch over to Big Ten Network every here and there, but always trying to learn. And you literally can throw out any – who won the Super Bowl in 1964, and he'll go – yeah, because, the Bears, they did that in that year, and then it's probably this. And it's like, why do you know that? Like, he's a weirdo. Basically, we have a weirdo here that's going to come on and talk about the defense. Also, another thing that we have to share, and I don't know if he wants us to share this, but I'm sharing it because it's hilarious. He caught interceptions in college. Every interception he caught, he took the ball home. He took the ball
I didn't know that either.
He took the ball that didn't belong to him, but I guess it does because he got an interception. If you don't want him to take your ball, don't throw him an interception.
Don't tell him that, bro. Don't tell him that, bro.
Yeah, that was that's like a NCAA violation back in the day,
he was getting so many extra benefits, man. Stealing balls.
Man,
balls.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I love football, primarily like NFL, but I've always been watching ball. So, appreciate it again. Y'all having me.
So we
you
got
ever
a
think
ball
about
guy.
getting into media, though? You spent all the time watching NFL Network and TV. You ever thought about getting in there and sharing your knowledge with the people?
I would love to, bro. I would love to. So
that's
just
why we
trying
got
to
you
explore
here.
them avenues.
Today's
man.
a great opportunity.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So we talk so much about offense and the quarterback, but we need to hear insight from a guy who, obviously you won't take offense to this. You weren't the fastest guy. You weren't the biggest guy. We were just talking about how skinny you were, but somehow you always figured out how to be in the right space, making the right play, understanding what's going on is because of your football knowledge, and then you carve out a 6-year career. I don't think people know how hard it is to go 6 years after being undrafted, right? They treat you like a walk-on, and you got to find your way, and you did that. So just share with us what you've seen, like kind of an overall view of what you've seen from Michigan's defense to this point in the season.
So far, they've been decent. They've been decent. I will say they're a good defense. They're opportunistic, so they get a lot of turnovers. They do have about 11 interceptions on the year, about 20-plus sacks, 24, 25 sacks. Not really giving too much in the run game besides that USC game, but they're averaging about giving up 100 yards rushing. And they're just a good defense. They're kind of young, especially in the back end. I see a lot of different numbers, man. A lot of guys from 10, 20, 25, you name it, 19, 6. It's a bunch of guys that they throw in there. So a lot of people got experience. And they're good. The defensive coordinator is an aggressive coordinator. He's always going to dial up pressures, exotic blitzes. And the main thing for him just down this stretch the last couple of games is just stopping the run and then continuing to get turnovers. So they're good. They're a good defense for sure.
What would be, when you say decent and good, like what's the missing piece that you'd want to see for the adjective to be elite, dominant?
Well, you just got to limit the explosive plays. They do give up quite a bit of explosive runs primarily and a couple passes in the last couple of games. So really just honing in on their techniques down the stretch and limit those explosive plays, man. Offenses can move the ball. It's a pass-happy league, pass-happy NCAA, NFL, doesn't matter. So really just stopping the pass by eliminating explosives. That's what they got to do.
Do you see any relation, though? Because I agree with you. I'm sure Devin and Michigan fans, Wink, part of what you love about Wink Martindale is the aggressive mindset, but it's almost like going to the casino. That aggression can be counterproductive at times, and certainly it could lead to explosives. Do you see a relation? Is there a correlation in that sense? And maybe is that where the youth shows up? You're so aggressive, but you're young in the back end, and when you're aggressive, you need to be that much more focused on the attention to detail. Do you think maybe that's some of the relation, or how do you see these pieces coming together?
Well, really it's just, again, being an aggressive defense and play caller like Wink is. A lot of those guys in the back end are in man-to-man coverage, whether that be zero pressures where someone takes the back and there's no low hold player, or they're just actually in just true man-to-man coverage. So winning your one-on-ones is big on the outside in his defense. And then when they switch it up and go zone, is more so eliminating the yak. Too many hidden yardage, yards after catch, and those things bleed into time of possession and things that really affect the outcome of the game. So those two things.
So, Jared, they're about to play Northwestern, and Northwestern has Preston Stone, right? And though he's a veteran, right, he makes mistakes. He throws the ball to the other team. But as of late, he started to try to remedy that, and they've almost kind of taken the ball out of his hands like, hey, we can play really good defense. As long as you don't turn the ball over, we'll have a chance at the end of the game. When you see that, right, on film leading up, what are conversations like in the film room and in the meeting room when you're about to play a quarterback that has turned the ball over some, he's starting to kind of not do it. They're taking the ball out of his hands. What's the conversation like as you game plan going to that game?
Well, he's put that on tape that he will turn the football over. So most importantly, you're just opportunistic. You're like, hey, we can get the ball off this guy, or we could just definitely get our hands on the football and really pressure. Again, Week's defense starts with pressure. Uh, send them one more than they can block, 5-man, 6-man pressures. And even when you go zone, you just earn the right to rush 4. So just pressuring him, and the true man that he is usually shows. And the defense can get some turnovers for sure.
Yeah, you can only hide for so long. You can only pretend to be a guy that takes care of the ball for so long.
Yeah, that ball's coming out. If that's in your DNA, that's in your DNA. He's trying to limit it right now, but you got to pressure him. That's Wink's whole defense, pressure.
Yeah, and really, I'm interested for you as a safety, like the mindset, because the way Northwestern's offense is built, I feel like their offensive line has taken major strides. They do lean on the run game. They were excited about Preston Stone, and they got this receiver, Griffin Wilde, who, look, he's a capable receiver, but he's not, elite tier in the Big Ten, let alone college football. So what I'm kind of trying to say, they are very dependent on rushing success.
Mm-hmm.
I would just say, even with the youth in the back end, I would like our DBs. I would like them in one-on-one matchups, these man-to-man matchups. But for you as a safety, how do you kind of go about, game planning or mentally going into a game knowing, hey, I got to be a part of the run support versus I got to help my DBs on the outside?
I'll say in general, the Big Ten is a run conference overall. So when you playing Big Ten football, you're going to have to bring your big boy pads and tackle. So it always starts with stopping the run. And in an offense that likes to run the football, you definitely want to just stop them first and foremost up front. Now, as far as the guys being left in the back end in the pass, I mean, you can't stop everything. So really just stopping the run would be important. Run support from all defensive backs, so safeties, even corners. If they're a good rushing offense, that's what you do. You definitely just got to put your big boy pads on and come ready to tackle.
Dev, how about from a quarterback standpoint? Are you? I think maybe, I don't know. For me, I used to feast off of run the ball and then play action, and we run scissors or fork, corner post. I'm curious, like, is this, listening to Jarrod talk a little bit, is this something that you're looking for throughout the game as a quarterback? Are you trying to ID these kind of things?
Yeah, 100%. Northwestern's probably going to come out with a bunch of window dressing, motions, different things to simplify things for Preston Stone, because even though, he's kind of tried to remedy some of his turnover woes and things like that, he hasn't played a defense as good as Michigan's, right? So he's going to play a defense that's going to show him a lot of different things. And like Jarrod said, they are going to pressure, period.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Wink doesn't care. He's going to pressure.
Right.
So if a guy's turning the ball over, he's going to pressure even more, right? So if there's 70% pressure, he's going to be 90. He's going to try to get the ball out. And so when you're a quarterback, like, you want to see those motions and things. So now I can give you some indicators. Is it man? Is it zone? Where can I go with the ball? Because when a defense pressures you so much, right, you have to essentially know where you're going with the ball before the ball's even snapped, because you're not going to have time, right? I just remember when we were playing against Michigan State 2013, and we had guys open, but it didn't matter. Didn't matter. They played that eyes coverage in the back end. It kind of turns the man from time to time, but if you try to look off, you don't have time to do it, right? As soon as you come back to the read that you wanted to get to, you're already getting tackled, right? So that's what Michigan has leaned on, in my opinion, and I think that's what they should continue to lean on, especially in this game against Northwestern, because the thing is, they're going to throw the kitchen sink, Northwestern is. They're going to do everything they can to make sure that they put Michigan in a terrible position, and when the snowball starts to roll, when you're playing a team that you should beat or that you're better than, it doesn't look good. Right, because they get a little confidence. They start doing onside kicks, fake punts, all kind of crazy stuff. And you don't want to see that, because now you got to rely on your offense. And to this point in the season, in all honesty, we all have seen it. Michigan's offense just hasn't gotten to that point where you can lean on them to win the game when the defense isn't able to produce.
I'm looking at the schedule here. Like, this is in a sense, it's a perfect ramp up for Michigan's defense. So one, you're coming off a bye. So let's get guys healthy, as healthy as possible. And then Northwestern, they're built on, they have got to run the ball.
Yeah.
Then you play Maryland. Maryland cannot run the ball. They do not run the ball. They are reliant on throwing the football. And then, of
Right.
course, Ohio State, we know what they're capable of.
Sick of it.
Is there anything you're looking to see, Jarrod, at this point? I mean, I called Ohio State's game against Purdue, and man, they really don't make many mistakes. And I just get the sense Ohio State is not going to beat themselves the way they beat themselves last year. And Michigan was able to take advantage of it and get the win. I just think Michigan, it's like as close to being perfect as possible. What are some of those areas you're kind of still looking forward to see from the defense as a whole?
Well, this is the second time they've had their bye. So right now it's just to make that run. If they want to get to the college football playoff, this is where it starts. You got to win out pretty much. Northwestern's a great test running. Maryland's a great test passing. Then Ohio State's Ohio State. I will say about their quarterback, he hasn't played in the game. And it's like the greatest,
Right.
it's the greatest game of all. So he doesn't have that experience in the game. That do have returning guys that have played, but that game just hits different. It's not really about the X's and O's. It's about the ones that can control their emotions and still continue to execute down the stretch. So they're a great team. Obviously, they potentially may walk in undefeated in that game, but Michigan will be ready. They'll continue to just build and be an opportunistic defense, and then offensively, just run the football. The DNA of Michigan football is to run it. So just 40 times, 50 times, it doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah.
We will have to make plays through the air, right? Again, you can't just necessarily live in that, but time of possession will be big, especially down the stretch. So I want to see guys fresh. Again, they had their second bye, so let's go make a run at this thing.
Yeah, Jarrod, when I last year picked Michigan to win, it was solely because of Will Howard. And I'm like, yeah, it's all good, but I don't think he knows what it's like to play in the game, right? I don't think he gets it because he hasn't been there, right? He wasn't a backup. He wasn't on the roster, right? So he was at a different school and he comes in and he thinks, oh, we're a better team, so we should win, right? No, wrong. That's not how it works, right? And so the only thing that kind of scares me is that Julian Sand was there last year and he saw that.
Yeah.
Right. So he was there last year. He saw that. Unless he's just blind and very arrogant, he should see like, okay, this is different, not the same. Sawyer was trying to like kill people after the game. He's fighting his own coach, trying to get to Michigan guys planting the flag. Like it's a special kind of hate. And then playing on the road is going to be different for him too. So I'm really looking forward to seeing, because they're starting to lean on him. They're starting to lean on Julian Sand and what he's capable of. It's not just play defense and kind of don't mess it up. He's attacking other people's defenses. He's playing the best football as a quarterback in college football right now. I mean, that's what's happening. And so that's terrifying. But like you said, the game is different. And we hope, I hope that he doesn't understand that yet.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure
Ours hasn't played yet. That's what I'm that's what I'm scared for too a little bit is Bryce hasn't played in that game yet. You know?
True.
Yeah, right.
But
DG's been mentoring him though, Jarrod. You got to. I don't know if you've tuned in. DG's been laying it out here.
I already know.
Stop saying stuff out loud.
Yeah.
I will say this: it's a home game, correct?
I felt so good after that rant. I felt so good after that, and then you got to remind me. Oh, you know who else hasn't?
They're undefeated at home, right? That's a really important thing. They're undefeated at home.
It matters.
At being at home, he'll be a lot more settled. And then again, this will be his first experience in this thing. The entire team has to just galvanize him and get him going. Defensively, I know in a game like that, you got a high-powered offense. We already know how Ohio State's offense is year in and year out. So defensively, Wink will dial it up. And even if he drops out in zone, I think he did a really good job last year of really just getting them off balance. I feel like sometimes they were expecting pressure and he played zone, and then vice versa. He sent
sim pressures, all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But he was throwing everything at him.
Yeah. So same thing this year.
So Jarrod, I want you to describe something for us because, you know, Northwestern through the years and still to this day, they play a lot of cover four, right? Because they need to have those safeties because of the talent level. You don't get the best guys. You don't get 5 stars. You got to make sure those safeties can get down in the box, help in the run game. Explain the components of cover four and how can an offense, like when you're a defender, right? Because you're not playing anymore. You can give all the secrets. When you're a defender, what are the things that scare you the most so that Michigan can watch this podcast and say, listen, let's start implementing that because a great safety from the University of Michigan that played 6 years in the league says that's something that really scared him as a cover four safety or whatever.
I just seen this as a hot topic of Mina Khan.
Yeah.
She had misspoke, or I don't really know what
Oh yeah, I
happened,
saw
but
that.
I didn't really like watch the whole details.
I
But
don't think she misspoke. I think the
okay,
other coach misspoke.
I
She
saw
said,
again. I didn't see the
So
whole
she
thing, so don't
like
quote me on that.
what the coach didn't understand is you don't have time to elaborate, right? She kind of just said it
right.
quickly, and
Yeah,
you can be cover four over the top.
you can,
Yes.
Now
you can.
it isn't designed to stop you from getting like it's not that's not like how it's designed. But when you learn certain concepts, you do beat it over the top, and so
Right.
it's just the guy's just he kind of trolls and wants to get everybody all riled up. She just said what she said, and she was fine, and just whatever.
The coach is a
Yeah.
former Ohio State guy, right? Or am I?
No, he was on
No,
Last
he's not?
Chance U.
That's
He
who it is.
always
Okay, you're
does
right.
like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
stuff, and he's just like so vulgar. And it's just like, dude, just take a deep breath, man.
Yeah.
Because guess
Yeah.
what? There are dudes that can really sit down with you, and now you're gonna look crazy when you start talking ball. And one of those guys is Jarrod Wilson. So let us know what Michigan needs to do offensively to make sure that they give you a headache as a safety and cover four.
Well, quarters coverage is it's a tough coverage, pretty much mainly because you're a quarter flat player. So you have a B gap defender and your nickel or outside linebacker. He's kind of floating in that apex between the in man line of scrimmage and usually your two detached or two receiver. So in that instance, he has to defend the B gap and run, but then also be a quarter flat player.
All right,
So
let me
he's
pause you
outside
there.
of the box.
Yeah.
Is
Yes.
what you're saying.
Let me
Yes.
pause you there. So, for a picture for viewers, listeners, that means you have a player that's a second level player, not on the defensive line, but he's in the second level,
and not a safety either,
and
right?
he's not
Linebacker level.
He's standing
yeah.
outside
Mhm.
the box, right, over like kind of like an overhang outside the defensive end. But his
Yes.
responsibilities are basically right over the center guard, right,
Yes, he
or
has a B
guard
gap.
tackle. Yeah.
Yes, he has a B gap on run, and then he has quarter flat coverage. So anything that takes him to the flat, he has it. But ideally, the flats are wide open in quarters coverage. You're
Mhm.
defending a quarter of the field, mainly back deep.
Uh-huh.
Now, you can beat quarters coverage over the top by mainly drawing attention to the safety with the number two receiver
Mhm.
on some form of a basic route, 8 to 10 yard basic route.
So
Real
basic
quick,
route,
let me-
tight ends. That's your
Yeah.
route. You tell everybody what that basic is.
It's
Yes.
vertical, 8 to
Mhm.
10, and then it's an in breaking route.
Yes.
And I think
yes.
what you're alluding to, if at quarters, even though it's zone, it almost looks man. You
Mhm.
lock vertical, right, Jared?
Yes,
Is what you're saying?
that's the toughest part about it. It does take by the letter of the law, it can become man with normal spacing, but then condensed splits and things, the corner and safety are able to pass those things off. So depending on what they've put on tape, they can pass some things off or they actually just play it manned out. 'Cause
So
it's pretty
ideally
hard.
for Michigan, you would rather not have those condensed splits so that you can get him in that man, and really it turns the man zero with no help, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's just man to man, particularly for the safety. After he passes that apex player that I referenced, it's man to man for a safety. So if you got a speed guy or a really shifty slot, you can use him all day, kind of over the middle, paying attention or having the safety take his attention to him. And then the big shot, the big post is on the corner. So the
Yeah.
corner has to stay top shoulder on number one. And that's hard. I mean, guys are running 4-4-4-3, no matter who they are. So if they get up top on you, it's easy.
Yeah.
For sure.
And in this instance, that the corner it effectively becomes man, and there's no too high safety for him to pass it off to. There's no help. But I wanted to, and maybe we could all have this conversation. You know, I'm thinking about two things. First, that flat defender that you're talking about. That's why teams have started to run more RPOs, because it puts him in a serious conflict, because he has to both defend the run
Mhm.
and the flat. So take us through how would you even coach that as that guy that's a flat defender?
That's a really good
Because
question.
Michigan runs the RPOs. They like these RPOs.
Mhm.
They've implemented some of the RPO bubble screens.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I really think it's just patience. I coach patience. I used to call it just like pop pop. So you're just reading on the run, but you're also kind of just standing still. There's no reason to kind of try to hit the B gap on the run soon as he fakes it to the running back, because your job isn't to have this as a tackle for loss. Again, this is zone coverage. So it's not about you meeting him at the line of scrimmage
It's
or
not
anything
aggressive like Wink.
at all, because if he pulls it and throws the RPO, now we're outflanked on the edge.
Yeah.
So I would rather you give up a couple yards in the run game and definitely be more so paying attention to the edge when they throw the bubble screen and being able to rally inside out to make that tackle.
So, Jared, get inside their locker room. Do you feel like that they feel comfortable coaching Pop where he's patient because of the way Michigan runs the football? Do you think that that's what they're saying? Or are they saying, like, I know this is what we usually do, but because of the way they run the football, get in the B gap now?
Yeah, they're probably saying that.
Yeah.
They are, but saying it and then actually when them
Yeah.
lights turn on Saturday is totally different, bro.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, they could say it all they want, but as you're continuing to get 6 and 7 and 10 yards of pop a run, you're going to naturally get a little bit more aggressive. Like, hey, I got to fit this guy up.
Yeah.
And then usually they pull it and throw it. Then they got a big one on the outside. So now your wheels are turning like, man, do I defend the outside or do I defend the run? So it's really for Michigan keeping them off balance,
Yeah.
even though Northwestern may be coaching them exactly how they should. But again, the momentum in the game, how a possession may go could just rattle you, and you may be a little off center with that.
So as much as we just run the football, this could be a Bryce Underwood game where he's the equalizer. He's the one that keeps them off balance, because if he makes good decisions, and it doesn't have to be a 240-yard passing game. As long as he makes good decisions in the RPO, it forces those linebackers to at least hesitate. And if they hesitate for 1 second, we're getting to the second level with the offensive linemen, and we've already seen what the running backs are doing.
Yes. I feel like with Bryce in general, getting him on the run, he's very, very effective. When he tries to kind of sit in the pocket, ideally, he may want to be a pocket passer. I see some traits of being a really good one. Just getting a quarterback like him on the run, man, just being able to move the pocket for him, get the ball out quick to the flat, easily read a deep over as your second read, or maybe even take a shot. So I really like him on the run when you're kind of moving that pocket for him. And then downhill is downhill. Again, turning around and handing the ball off is the easiest thing a quarterback can do. So,
yeah.
I want to go back to a few things here, because another thing about quarters coverage and you playing safety, why a lot of teams love that is the safeties, they sit at about 10, 12 yards, eyes in the backfield, your aggressive run support as well. That's you have a 6-man box, but the safeties have the ability to come downhill and support the run, right, Jarrod?
yes,
And
absolutely.
I loved our play action to the safety, and we'd run a corner post, just like you said, because one, you get a one-on-one matchup with the receiver on the post outside effectively. And then for me as a tight end, the guy that's guarding me would be you as a safety, but you're also part of run support. So it's
always
showing
a little late.
Eyes, always a little late. And Devin and I have been talking about this for a while as, man, Michigan's got these great tight ends, and I feel like there's a much bigger opportunity to get them involved in the game. Can you kind of talk about how hard is that as a safety to play all those layers? And do you think this is something Michigan could lean into?
It's about having really good eye discipline, which is tough, right? You're seeing a lot of things. In quarters coverage, you're not so much ball watching, but you could read the end man on the line of scrimmage, or you could read the number 2 receiver. Again, the number 2 receiver is going to be the telltale of his run or pass. If he clearly blocks the apex player,
that's the tight end in this instance.
So he should probably be blocking down on that will backer, or the strong side backer. He's going to block down, and then you fill. Now it makes it a little bit muddy if he goes around him. So it's really just having good eye discipline, and depth is always your friend. So in college, we played it at about 8, 10 yards. Honestly, I believe that's a little too tight. Again, I don't want to get the ball thrown over my head. So I actually backed up to about 12, 13 when I was in the league.
He's like, I understand this was supposed to do, but these lights are on. I'm back up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big thing for me. I'm not trying to give up the big one. We can always just rally down and make a tackle, right? Now, if you're sitting here throwing the ball over my head and they're striking the band, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
So when you're a safety and you don't have, because you always had good eyes, but there are other safeties in the rooms that didn't have good eyes, right? And I know you used to always try to have conversations with them and help them, right? Is it an instance where if you're a safety and you got bad eyes, you just got bad eyes? Can you improve on your eyes?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's more of just a basic technique, right? Your eyes will eventually take you to the football. Well, I shouldn't say your eyes, your keys. I could key a certain thing. And as I got better and older and playing football, I would know the pass concept by simply formation and then just keying one thing. So if we're talking quarters coverage, 2x2 to the tight end side, I can key Jake at the tight end. Again, like if he blocks down or if he kind of arc releases, I'm like, all right, I'm being patient. Again, I don't need to make any tackles at the line of scrimmage. That's not my job. As antsy as I want to be in the run, and show up and get a tackle for loss. That's just not my job in that coverage. So I would usually just make sure I had good eyes, play it slow, and then I could easily just read his release from there. So
that's kind of scary for me, just because if Northwestern historically has been a team that is disciplined and reads their keys and different things like that. And I know their coach does a really nice job. And so when you have that, that means they're studying the film. And we've kind of highlighted on this show in multiple weeks that it's very vanilla. It's very repetitive, the different kind of concepts and plays, right? And so that terrifies me that a school like Northwestern, where they're going to be smart, they're going to play hard, they're going to be aggressive, all those different things, they're probably watching film and saying, oh my goodness, we can understand what's happening just by watching this and understand. And so I think this is a great opportunity in the bye week for Michigan to build off of the things they do, double moves, different things like that. The plays that they put on film that they've run consistently, I think this is a great opportunity to throw something totally different that looks the same, whether it's a double move or whatever the case may be, because I think Northwestern is going to be more of a Jarrod Wilson and very disciplined and understand that what they're going to get based off of different formations and what they've seen on film.
Yeah, I think that's what the bye week is for, though. So I'm pretty sure they did some good self-scout on themselves, seeing what they do well and things that they don't do as well, and then usually add some wrinkles or two into the offense, a couple things that they haven't ran. And that'll just keep them Northwestern's defense like off kilter. So you just want to definitely, you had that break, you've self-evaluated yourself, and you know what you do well, but there are a few wrinkles left in the offense that you can take throughout the end of the season.
Yeah. Well, it's important because Maryland is not a quarters team. Ohio State is not a quarters team. So, like, this is the week. If you have quarters beaters that you love,
they all got to be on.
Great opportunity. Yeah, yes. Absolutely. So, all right, man. Thank you so much. You sticking with us here for almost 30 minutes. It's been a great treat and a pleasure, no problem, man. We really appreciate you. What are you doing for the game this weekend? What are you going to be doing to watch it?
I'm just watching, nothing in particular. I don't have really too many plans. I may have some things going on with real estate. Now that I'm a agent and everything.
Jarrod, I'm just telling you, dude. Oh, I forgot you the greatest real estate agent. First of all, you're going to plug that right after I say this. But I'm just telling you, the fans are really going to love that deep dive into a coverage that they hear all the time. They hear quarters. They hear cover 4. And they've seen on Twitter the argument between Mina Kimes and Coach JB or whatever his name is. I think they're really going to love like a ball guy just telling you exactly what it is, and they'll be able to follow, and then they'll be able to watch football and see it, and they're going to see it on Saturday. So that's really cool. But come on, man, plug your deal. If people need a house, where do they need to go?
Yeah, well, I'm just a licensed agent in Northeast Florida and Ohio with Keller Williams Atlantic Partners in Jacksonville, Florida, then Keller Williams Greater Metropolitan in Cleveland, Ohio. So in any of those areas, I'm able to represent you, help you buy or sell a home. And I also do some investing as well. So just anything real estate, any questions in that as well. Just being a student of the game is that as well. Continue to learn. So you could always just reach out to me.
Nice.
There's not a more trustworthy human being on the planet than Jarrod Wilson.
Yeah. There is not a more. This is the most straightforward person on the planet. Like there is no deviation. Like he's doing his job. He's undrafted, 6 years in the league. Like that, you don't just wake up and say, "Oh, I guess I'll just play 6 years in the league now." Like what?
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be the greatest real estate agent on the entire planet in about what, 40 minutes? What? How long is it going to take you?
Hey man, I'm still sticking to it again.
Give those balls back. Give those teams their balls back. Paul, give them back.
Yeah. No. Can't do it, bro. Can't do it.
Hey man. Well, we appreciate you. Thanks so much for your time, guys. I mean, please show some love down in the comments there for Jarrod Wilson. And we're going to step aside for a break here. On the other side, first edition of the College Football Playoff Rankings came out last week. Michigan came in at number 21, but we've had some shakeups. Some teams have lost, some teams have won. DG and I are going to break down the path for Michigan to get into the College Football Playoff and potentially the Big Ten Championship. That's on the other side of the break. Jarrod, thanks for tuning in, man. It's great to see you. Thank you, guys. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, final segment here of the Blueprint, and we're not going to be able to top that segment. Jarrod Wilson, Dev, thanks for bringing him on, man. Just a wealth of knowledge, and we kind of previewed it. It is, I'm looking at it, November 9th. It's championship season. Michigan sitting there with 2 losses, so no room for error. 1 conference loss, and they're on a collision course with the Buckeyes. Got to get through Northwestern, got to get through Maryland. First, I'll lay it out. for you guys. First edition of the college football playoff rankings. Michigan came in at number 21. They were ranked behind USC. I thought that was, fair. Okay, USC beat you. They were ranked behind Iowa and ahead of Washington. Okay, that's all pretty fair. None of it really matters, though. If you win and if you beat Ohio State, they would be in the college football playoff. And because of some tiebreakers, I believe they have a really good chance, if not a likely chance, to make it to Indy for the Big Ten championship game. So it's really that simple. It's win and get in. Washington lost last night to Wisconsin, so it's like be on high alert. You have no room for error. Iowa lost to Oregon. Those were both two teams fighting to be that fourth Big Ten team behind Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon. Now it's USC who will also play both Iowa and Oregon. So they got a tough path. Any thoughts, Dev, on the college football playoff picture and scenario right now?
Yeah, I think they got it right. The AP had Michigan ahead of USC, and as much as we would love Michigan to be ahead, that's just not fair. They got the same record, and they played each other, and they beat them by 3 scores.
Clearly beat them.
That didn't make any sense, right? So, I think that the College Football Playoff Committee got it pretty right? And like you said, it doesn't matter, right? Because if you win all your games, if you win the rest of your games, you got 3 more games. You win against Northwestern, and I think you should win convincingly, right? And I'll give another scenario, too. You beat Northwestern convincingly, right? You beat Maryland fairly 2 scores, right? Maybe 10. Let's say you beat them by 10, right? 2 scores, good team. They play well for a lot of time. And then maybe you don't even win the Ohio State game, but you take it down to the wire like you know you can. I think you still got a shot. I think you got a real shot, right? Because a lot of people are talking about SEC teams with 3 losses and all that. Well, you got a loss to Oklahoma where you had a true freshman quarterback on the road, because this is not computers
no head coach for that.
No, they did.
No, they did. My bad.
But this is not computers doing it. These are coaches, football minds, like people saying. I remember I did the mock playoff committee kind of exercise, and literally all those arguments come into play. They had a freshman quarterback making his first start on the road at night, and they didn't get blown out, right? And then they go and win all these. You know what I mean? So there are going to be a lot of different arguments for Michigan to get an opportunity, not to mention the Michigan brand. As much as, teams that don't have a big brand don't like that, it is what it is. The Michigan brand. And so do you have to win all your games? I don't think so. Should you win all your games to leave no doubt? Absolutely. The path is win all the games, period. Don't worry about anything else. If you win against Northwestern by 1, you win against Maryland by 1, and you beat Ohio State, we're going to beat them by 4. Let's beat them by 4.
Beat them by half a point if you have to. Whatever.
You beat them by half.
Yeah.
You're in the playoff and possibly in the Big Ten championship, right? So, this is exactly where you want to be at this time of year. You get a chance to control your own destiny. Nobody else can control it, right? A lot of teams have to hope that other teams lose, hope that this happens, hope that that happens, but hope that all these things around the country they can't control happens. Not Michigan. You are in control of your own destiny. If you win every single game you have remaining, which that game at the end of the year, you've proven you can win that 4 straight years. And maybe if you take those first 3 out and you say just last year, you would say this is a better team than it was last year offensively, possibly, things haven't looked great, but you expect that this team can definitely compete the way that the team last year did. So you can control your destiny. You got to do it.
Yeah. The committee, you made a great point there. I mean, the committee, I feel like they're clearly real humans that are invested. You can see their thought process, and I think a perfect example is, Notre Dame was ranked ahead of Miami. And it's like, well, if we're talking head to head, Miami should be ranked above. But then the committee says, well, that was a opening weekend loss on the road by a field goal. Notre Dame was introducing a brand new freshman quarterback. Yep. Clearly, Notre Dame looks like the better team right now. So there's they have some fluidity. And I think what's crazy is, we looked at the schedule in the offseason and knew, hey, Michigan has a chance to get to the playoffs. But I think a lot of people expected with the youth that this might be a building block year. And yet, at this point, because of where they're at, it's no longer excuse to say they're young or it's a building year.
Of course.
The fact of the matter is, opportunity is right out there in front of you for the taking. You have Ohio State at home, very, very important, like Jarrod was talking about in the last segment. Just got to get it done. Period.
Done.
Just got to get it done. And we need you guys to get it done too. It's the
Mhm.
push to 10K. We need you guys. We're going to all celebrate together. The push to 10K. Send it to your friends. It is the blueprint. Thank you so much for getting us to 8.5. But we're not going to settle. We're not going to settle. It's the push to 10K. So we will be back next week with a quarterback breakdown. Dev's going to break down what he saw from
Breaking
Bryce
down a
in the Northwestern
beatdown
game. That's what we're
of
hoping.
Northwestern.
It's what we're hoping. It's
Breaking
what
down
we're
a
hoping.
beatdown.
Let's plan on it. It'll be a date.
It's a trophy
We will
game,
see
too,
you
so that's pretty
guys
cool.
next week. It is in a great looking trophy too.
Yeah,
Awesome trophy. One of the best ones in the conference. But anyways, another episode of the Blueprint. Thanks for tuning in. It's the push to 10K. Tell your friends, tell your family. We will see you guys next week.